afternoon, students. This is Design and Technology. It says DT22. That means it's the first year that you are doing Design and Technology, although it is your second year at IOL. So we are starting with the introduction of this subject so that you can have an idea of what to study and what the subject is all about. My name is Arenda Herman, and if you call me, please don't say Arenda, just call me Mrs. Herman when you call me, please. Number 1 says the consequences of conflict. Now, what do we understand with conflict? Conflict is like a fight or an unresolved, physical unresolved thing that you have. Usually, we get it in a class between children, and a fight can also be among a teacher and a learner, especially when there's things that children do not understand. And then during the fight, there are stirred up emotions. Now, what does stirred up emotions mean? It means between children there can be a hatred, especially when they are from different cultures. And when there are hatred, the anger can also get out of it. So we as teachers, or you as student teachers who will go out to schools, must prevent this by always resolving the issues or the fights. Now, how will you resolve it? You will listen to both sides of the children and then make a very quick but a responsive decision so that the conflict can be resolved quickly. That means you will give a solution to the problem. Number 2, the ways to present electrical shocks. How will we do that? By being safety conscious. Now, how do we teach children how to be safety conscious? When we work with electricity, we must always tell the learners, because now you are going to work with primary school learners, they must switch off the electricity and they must unplug it by the socket. That is a safety, how they can be saved. Number 2, you must shut off the power, like I said just now. So you cannot and also when you tell them to shut off the power, make sure that you teach them your hands there must be no water on your hands. Your hands must be clean. And if you see there's something wrong with the wires or with the socket or something, rather call an adult or call your teacher instead of doing it yourself. But if you are alone, then rather get out of the class and call a person and don't go into the class. Now, they must also test the circuits. Now, how do we test it? Usually, we have a machine to test the circuit and the socket. So, this cannot be dealt with by children. So, it must be you as an adult, a student teacher, or a qualified teacher. So, teach children, even if it's at home, in the classroom, or anywhere, and there's a problem with the electricity, call an adult, just to be on the safe side. Number 3, very important, how to start your own business. With your own business, you have advantages. That means the things that are working positively, and there are disadvantages. Disadvantages means things that are negative things. Now, let us look at the positive things, the advantages. Number 1, when you have your own business, you will be your own boss. Now, you must teach children, anybody can start a business, especially in school. They can start their own business if I now think, for example, they can make popcorn or sell sweets in front of their house. Then they are their own boss. But the disadvantages, on the other hand, you have uncertain earnings, which means today the children will buy a lot of sweets, popcorn or chips from you, and in the middle of the month the children don't have a lot of money because their parents must give them the money. Then they will not buy such a lot. So that is what we mean by uncertain earnings, which means at the end of the month you can make a lot of money, but in the middle of the month you can make only little money or none at all. And then the second one is there's long hours of work, which means some days the business will go well and you will work for long hours. Other days there are no customers, but you must still put in the long hours because you want your business to work. And you must also remember this question of your own business, the advantages and the disadvantages. I like to ask it. So it doesn't matter which exam do you write. This is one of my favorites. So please make a note of that. Now we get to the properties. That means the strength and the weaknesses. Now, when we're looking at the strength and the weaknesses, we can look at different things. We can look at wood, we can look at oil, any natural product that comes from the earth. That is what properties mean. So let us look at wood, for example. Wood is very useful to us and it's reasonably cheap, which means with wood you can make furniture. With wood they use wood to make paper. So there are a lot of advantages or strengths when you use wood. Now what are the weaknesses? The weaknesses is it takes very, very long for a tree to grow, which means if you cut a tree down today, in the place of that one tree, you must teach children, you must plant 4 or 5 of them, because it takes a long time for it to grow again. But there's a lot of advantages, not just furniture and paper that you can make, but you can think, you don't even have to read this in your book. You can just think, what can I make with wood? Maybe you must just read a little in your book and go out also and check in the shops. What are made out of wood? What are made out of wood? Of paper? What are made out of? So that you can just have an idea of what properties are. And the next one is energy. What kind of energy do we get? We get the ordinary energy, we get potential energy, and we get kinetic energy. Now this question is my favorite. Mark it as because it will be in your exams as well. Now let us look at energy. Energy is when work is done, energy is transferred. Now energy works like this. Even if we exercise and we sweat a lot, that is also energy that your body is using. Especially when you eat, rest a little, and then you work out. That is energy that is coming from your body. Now potential energy on the other hand is, the word potential refers to stored energy that can be used or changed when needed. And then the last one is kinetic energy. This is the energy that is associated with movement. Now kinetic energy, when I can just think of a simple example is when you pull a trolley or pull a wheelbarrow, a kraver, then it is kinetic energy because you use your arms and your legs and your whole body to push the thing forward. That is why we said this is energy that is going into movement so that the thing can move. So even if your car is stuck, then you just quickly ask, who can help? And then people will run and help you and you push the car. Remember, movement is like when something is standing still and you move it either forward or backwards. That is where kinetic energy is coming from. Can you see? It's not even difficult. Ne? Simple examples that you must use. So don't think that this is a very intricate subject. Remember, the more simple you make your ideas or the more simple you make your examples, the more better you will understand them. And you will also use them in the exam as well. And so if you go to school, you make simple examples so that the children can understand and they can see, oh, that is something that I have at home that I can understand. Because everything that we learn in school, we must use practical ideas so the children can see, why am I learning this? Because in the olden days we were thinking, why am I learning such a lot of things and I'm never going to use it? Remember, learning is something that must be practical. Only when children understand things, they will remember things because it will make sense to them and as well to you. So the features of an ideal design and technology class, very important. It's my favorite again, market. Now, when I have a design and technology class in a primary school, what am I going to do? First thing I must do is I must arrange the students' desks, because in a normal setting, we want the children's desks to look to the front where they can see the teacher, where they can see the chalkboard, because your lesson will go through there. But when you have a design and technology class, this is now an informal thing. We will work in groups. We will divide the children into different groups. Maybe 3 or 5 different children must work together. Now you must be careful. When you put them into groups, don't put all the clever children together. Don't take all the children that are not so sharp. Don't put them together. Just mix the groups a little so that there can be a person with leadership qualities, because the other people may be shy and this person can say, no, we can do this or we can do that. So let me read what I wrote here. It says, arrange your students' desks for cooperative learning groups. That means, like I told you, now you must let them mix. And then according to the cooperative learning classroom research, because in the groups, when they discuss things, they are also going to research things. The desks must be placed in groups of 3 to 5 that create the most effective group size. So don't put 10 children in a group. Then the weaker children or the slower children will never get a chance to talk, because the others will overpower them. That is why I said rather put 3 children or 5 children in a group, because when children are, if there are too many in a group, some of them will not participate. When there are less in a group, then everybody must get a turn to talk and discuss things. And please, you as a teacher may not sit at your table. You must walk around and see if everybody in the group participate. And if you see they have a problem or there's a misconception, they did not understand what you meant, then you can, in that small group, you can explain and re-explain and see where the confusion has come from. So be careful and make sure that you know it. The next one is you are required that you must use the required instruments. Now this is very important. When you do design and technology, there's a section that has mathematics in it. So I say here, you need it for every diagram. And the second is the only way to accurately illustrate is with proper tools. Now what I mean by proper tools, I mean you must have a protractor, you must have a eraser, a pencil, a ruler, a compass. Those things that you use when you did in grade 12 when you're doing mathematics. That mathematical set, you must take it with, because if I ask you something to draw, for example, a corner or something, you cannot just use your pencil and eraser or just do it freehand. So be careful when you do this. If you do it freehand, you must already know, I take my protractor and I measure it. If it's not on standard, then I mark it wrong. So be very, very careful what you do. Go in with a set. If you do not have a mathematical set yet, then go and buy one. And make sure when you have the protractor, it must be a one of 360 degrees. Don't come there with half the stuff. You must have a full mathematical set. And make sure that you also ask a mathematics book of grade 11 and 12, because a lot of your maths will come out of that book. So just go to, maybe you have a cousin or family member that is in grade 11 or 12. Make sure that you also use their books, because it's not just about remember, designing technology is about business. It's about writing out the lesson plan because you are going to school. Remember, you are you're preparing yourself to be a teacher. So there's lots of things, and maths is one of the requirements for designing technology. And then you must also explain to the children why designing technology is so important. Remember, if they after grade 12, if they go out and they cannot find a job, they can always become their own boss, an entrepreneur, or they can do architecture, or they can even become a designer. Can you see? So the fields are very wide. And this is the end of my story, second years. So if you want, my number is 081 644 2582. So you can call me because in the morning I'm teaching. You can call me between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the afternoons. Over the weekends you can call me anytime, but not 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning. Remember, I'm sleeping on a Saturday, so should you. And don't wait to work only when you know there's an exam. Every day you take your book and you go over those things. Is there something that you do not understand? Go to somebody and ask for help. But don't wait until the time is too late. And then you can call me from, let's make it from 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening. You can call me. After that, you must send me a text message. And then I will get to you during the night when my daughter is in bed. And please do not call me in the morning. I cannot pick up my phone. I'm also at work.